I think Greta Garbo she proved fascinating to me. It's a rather humorous story. In those days, when a celebrity came in from Europe, a half a dozen or sometimes a dozen newspaper men would go down and meet these celebrities coming in on a ship from Europe. This means getting up early in the morning, going down in the lower bay of Manhattan and meeting these ships and coming up and interviewing their celebrity people. Garbo was on one of these ships. This was in the 30s, around 1937. And she had become famous in the movies and had left Hollywood to go back to Sweden for a vacation. She was reported to be in love with Leopold Stokowski, the conductor. Whether she was or not was what we were down to the ship to find out. She came out and 50 reporters and photographers held a mass interview. She was distinctly uncomfortable. Garbo was a very quiet, shy human being. She made a fortune out of being shy and quiet and alone, and she posed for pictures, and they pursued her. The reporters pursued her on the romance. I didn't mention it. I didn't ask any questions. I don't like mass interviews. I don't think you have a good chance. After everybody had left, disappointingly, so they didn't get the story about a romance because she denied it. After everybody else had left, I stayed on the ship. And I went to find her, hoping that I could get an interview. I went to her stateroom, I went to the captain of the ship, I went everywhere for 2 hours, and I couldn't find her. I had to go to the men's room, and that's where I found her.
In the men's room?
She was in the men's room hiding. And I didn't show any trauma. I just said, I'd love to see you for a couple of minutes. Could we take a walk on the deck? And she said, certainly. We went out on the ship deck and talked. And one of the things that I got, which was pretty important, I said, you know, you've always said that you wanted to be alone. And she said, I'm glad you asked me that, because it's not true. What I said was, I want to be left alone. Well, I knew I had a good story. We talked, she was charming. But she had a shyness, but it was simply that she didn't want to be overcome by a lot of people. I jumped off the ship and got my way back to the newspaper, to the office, and wrote the story about how Garbo had never said this remark about being alone, that she was not a recluse. She wanted to be left alone. Well, every paper in the United States picked it up, and